Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dehydrating with Kathy. Or if you're new here, I'm really glad you stumbled in. Today, we're doing something fun and flavorful. We are taking 3 fresh ingredients: turmeric, ginger, and coriander, and dehydrating them to make your own spice powders at home. We'll then turn these powders into a beautiful and savory homemade curry-inspired dish. I'm not a professional chef. Heck, I'm not even an amateur chef. I'm just a regular home cook who likes to know what's going into my food. Less preservatives, more real flavor, and a whole lot of kitchen experimenting. So let's get started.
First up, the fresh turmeric and ginger. Both of these ingredients come in root form, and they look kind of like knobbly little fingers. If you want to forego peeling, you'll want to give them a good scrub under running water to get off any dirt. I actually don't peel my turmeric, but I will peel my ginger. That's on purpose. The difference for me is the thickness and toughness of the skin. Turmeric has a much thinner, more delicate skin, and once it's washed thoroughly, it's totally fine to leave it on. Ginger, on the other hand, has a tougher, more fibrous skin that can get in the way of a smooth powder, so I peel that one. Now for slicing. Instead of slicing the turmeric and ginger, I actually puree them in my chopper, and that's because I found that pureeing gives them a more even, consistent dehydration, especially since slices tend to vary in thickness. You can slice them thin if you prefer. Either method works, so go with what suits you best. I just like the simplicity of spreading out a puree since it dries into thin, crisp pieces that are super easy to grind into powder later. Now, fair warning, turmeric stains. It'll dye your fingers, cutting board, and probably your counters if you're not careful. Gloves are optional but smart if you're not trying to walk around with sunshine orange stained hands for the next few days. I've also found that rubbing alcohol works incredibly well at removing any stains from your hands as well as your cutting board and chopping tools. But make sure to wash everything thoroughly when you're finished, of course. Now for the coriander, I'm using coriander leaves this time, which makes prep super easy. Just give them a rinse and spread them out on your tray. They'll add a nice fresh flavor to the curry we're making later. That said, when I want that classic coriander spice, the one with the warm citrusy kick, I usually go with the seeds, which I buy whole and grind myself. The seeds and the leaves have pretty different flavor profiles, so it will really depend on what you're going for. All right, it's time to dry these guys out. Spread everything out as thinly and evenly as possible on your trays. You want a single layer with no big clumps so it all dries uniformly. If you caught my last video on dehydrating garlic and onions, you already know the drill. But just as a quick refresher, I like to line my trays with parchment paper or butcher paper. Both work great and make cleanup way easier. If you've got a dehydrator, that is awesome. You'll want to set the dehydrator to around 95 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 to 46 degrees Celsius. Don't have a dehydrator? No problem. The oven works just fine too. That's what I use. Set your oven to the lowest temperature it allows. For me, that's 170 degrees Fahrenheit or 75 degrees Celsius. Ginger and turmeric usually take 6 to 8 hours depending on how thick your slices are and how efficient your oven or dehydrator is. Coriander leaves, if they're fresh, should only take a couple hours. You know they're done when they snap instead of bend. Make sure everything is completely dry. No bend, no squish. You want them to be as dry as a bad joke at a boring dinner party. Let your dried pieces cool completely before grinding. This prevents clumping and preserves shelf life. You can use a coffee grinder, spice grinder, or even a mortar and pestle if you're feeling traditional or want to get in a mini arm workout. Grind each ingredient separately. Turmeric, ginger, and coriander have very different flavors, and you want control over how you use them in recipes later. You want to store your powders in airtight jars to keep them fresher for longer. I got this handy jar sealer from Amazon and it works great. I'll have the link for you in the description in case you want to get something similar. I won't be sealing these jars until after the meal is made, since I want to use these spices in the curry-inspired dish, but it only takes about 30 seconds to seal each jar. Here's a pro tip. Label your jars. Seriously label them. Powdered ginger and garlic look very similar at a glance. Now that we've got our homemade turmeric, ginger, and coriander powders, let's make something delicious with them. This is my go-to curry base. It's rich, flavorful, and super versatile. Start by heating up 8 to 10 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pan. You can use other oils too, avocado, coconut, sunflower, whatever you like. Next, add about 1 to 1.5 cups of chopped onions. Toss those into the pan and let them start cooking down over medium heat. While the onions are softening, I get my spice blend ready. Here's what I use. 1 tablespoon of coriander powder, salt, turmeric, ginger powder, garlic powder, cumin. 4 to 5 cardamom pods, crushed, or half a teaspoon of cardamom powder. 1 teaspoon of red chili powder and 2 tablespoons of garam masala. Once your onions are translucent and starting to caramelize a bit, add the spices right into the pan. Let them cook together with the oil and onion for about 3 minutes. You'll start smelling it. It's amazing. Now, add in about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of tomato puree. You can absolutely use canned or fresh chopped tomatoes if that's what you have. This part is pretty flexible. Stir it all together and let it simmer until it thickens up and the oil starts to separate from the mixture a bit. That's when you know it's ready for the main ingredient. This spice base is perfect for about 2 pounds of whatever protein or vegetable you're using. Chicken, beef, chickpeas, tofu, or even roasted vegetables. Throw it in, stir to coat, let everything cook together. Today I'm cooking up boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Once it's all mixed up, cover and let it simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. After about 15 minutes, add 1 cup of water, give it a good stir, then lower the heat to medium-low. Let it simmer gently for around an hour, stirring now and then to keep things from sticking. By the end, you'll have a rich, deep curry that smells incredible and tastes even better. And you made it with your own homemade spices. This dish is my son's favorite, and it's been a staple meal in our household for over 10 years now.
And there you have it. We dehydrated turmeric, ginger, and coriander, turned them into long-lasting powders, and actually used them in something delicious, a chicken curry meal for dinner. If you tried this yourself at home, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear how your curry turns out or what you plan to spice up next. Please don't forget to like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching and happy dehydrating.